Welcome to this episode of Living by the Mantras. I am your host, Colleen Souza, and I'm here again this week with my fabulous best friend and co-host,
Brian Souza. It's great to be here, and we love giving you ideas on how to live an extraordinary life.
If you're new to our podcast, this podcast is based on my book, Living by the Mantras, Common Sense Wisdom for an Extraordinary Life. If you are watching this on YouTube, I'm holding it up. If you're listening, you're just listening. And you can find this book anywhere books are sold. You can go to Amazon. You can
go to livingbythemantras.com.
And you can find everything about us. So we are grateful. We are wrapping up a series.
Yep.
This is a four-part series on the mantra, Plan B is just a distraction. And it was about focus. So if you're new to our podcast and you haven't listened to any other episodes, I'm going to start by letting you know that the mantras in our world were just phrases that we lived by. Some of them were just quotes, verses, ideas. We didn't create any of them, but they made sense to us, to our family, to myself as a teacher in the classroom, to our business as we ran it together. And these little phrases stood for a common sense of value that we wanted to get across and not forget. And Plan B is just a distraction was about the importance of having focus in life, because we can feel like we get to the end of a day or the end of an episode of our life and go, what have I accomplished? And without focus and intentionality, it's just kind of sometimes
like shooting at something that there's no target.
Exactly.
Right? Gotta have a target.
Less than stellar. So we've done some episodes on time being of the essence, and we've talked about that. We did that a couple episodes ago, because it's very important to understand that time is something that we cannot get back. We can re-earn our money.
Yeah.
Okay. We can buy a new car. We can buy a new pair of shoes, but we can't buy time. And time is just so valuable that we don't want to waste it.
It is our most valuable commodity.
It is. And then we talked about the myth of multitasking, and just to help around the idea of focus, and that multitasking is really just splitting our time and being distracted. So you can listen to that episode, and that was a couple weeks ago. And last week I hung out with you guys by myself, and I talked about the power of time blocking, because that
Who's an expert at that?
Yeah, time, it's telling your time where to go. And I'm an expert at it because I suck at doing good things with my time. I'm not good at time management. Therefore, I've had to become good at time management to be successful. And I shared by myself, because I really feel like for a guy like Brian, when I first met him and then married him, and we started this whole journey together 37 years ago, it was super annoying, because I was a free spirit that just sort of like whatever came my way, la la la. And then I discovered I wasn't really getting a lot accomplished. This guy naturally just had organization.
She's super creative, though.
Yeah, I am. I have my gifts. But what I discovered was that I was not going to get ahead in life with my dreams if I didn't find a way to organize. And I was hopefully talking to other people who are like Brian, naturally organized, to give input to people you love and care about or work with that might not be so organized. And hopefully I was talking to the folks out there who struggle, because it's just so important to tell our time where to go or it will go away. And so that's what that was about. But as we wrap up this series, we're going to talk about the buddy system. And that's what this episode is today. Welcome to the buddy
buddies.
system. It is. Well,
yeah.
Bottom line is, we can't do life alone.
No, we're meant to be in collaboration with others.
Yeah, we really are.
Yeah.
And when it comes
that way.
Yeah, we're social animals. We really, really are. We need to travel in packs. We see animals out there that are more independent versus those pack animals. And humans are pack animals. We need to have a group around us. Sometimes we need to have, because of our intelligence, we need to have multiple groups around us. We need to choose groups that impact us based on who we are and where we are in life.
And I'm going to throw in there real quickly.
Okay, throw away.
One of my buddies, one of my mentors, is David Sawyer, a very successful real estate agent here in the Central Valley, California. Moved over to Monterey, and he's retired over there and living an amazing life. And Dave, if you're listening, I want to be you still one day. So he gave me the best advice ever about climbing the ladder of success. He goes, make sure that you bring others with you. And that way, when you're at the top of the mountain, you're not alone. Because if you arrive at the top of the mountain and you're by yourself, it's a very lonely place.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Because we need to have people around us.
Yep,
so we're going to talk about that, because our success lies in having people that support us. And that's really what this is about. So when we talk about the need to focus with people around us, the buddy system, mentors and friends are important. So what benefit is there on leaning on others, Brian?
Benefit for what?
What is the benefit of leaning on others? Leaning into
Yeah,
others?
like the example I just provided with, giving encouragement to have a broader perspective beyond yourself. So it's not only you that's being improved, you're helping the lives of others as well. And so at the end of the day, it's kind of like the principle of iron sharpening iron, right? So together we all win.
Well, and I think it's really important to think about this. Like what he was saying earlier, but she's very creative. Yes, I'm a great listener. I'm super creative. I give great hugs. I can get a lot
Everybody likes
done.
Colleen.
Okay, everybody likes Colleen. Point is, there's a lot of things, and I mean, there's a longer list than that of things that I'm good at. I'm not trying to downplay my own gifts and abilities and skills, but I know where I'm not strong. And we have this we have this box of cards. They're called talking points, and we
Yeah.
leave them sitting near our table. And
It's a great game.
yeah, when we have family over, we'll pull them out. And last night, he and I were just playing good old-fashioned dominoes. That's a good old-fashioned game we like to play. But we were both tired, so I decided it was important to pull out talking points so that we could maybe throw some conversation out there. And one of the talking points that came up was, what is one thing that you wish you could be that you're not, or one skill that you wish you had that you're not? And I pointed out skills that I see exist in him and our youngest daughter, Grace, because they're opposite of me. And so I wasn't putting down what I'm gifted at, but I noticed initially or automatically, I know what I don't have. I know what's not in my toolbox, And so what's really important is that we figure out where we're weakest and we lean into people that have those strengths. Why is that important?
Because that's the only way you can learn and grow. So, they know things that you don't. That's why you lean towards them as being your mentor, your guide.
What makes people hesitate? Well, and you might not be the person. Let me ask myself that question, because we're looking at Brian here, or we're listening to Brian here, and Brian exudes a person of extraordinary confidence, and not in a way that's obnoxious or cocky. Please don't get me wrong, but he has a hard time understanding what it would be like for normal people to feel insecure, because he is just uberly confident all the time. But I'm going to ask myself that question, and then I'll answer it. Colleen, what would keep people from possibly leaning into other people that are better at things than them? Oh, I'll answer that. My answer is that it makes you feel insecure. It makes you feel lesser sometimes if you don't approach it properly, because I know that there are times where I have to ask him or lean into him. And for years, when we first came together to work in our real estate company, we've always been good friends, and we've always done similar things in life. And when he broke off and did our real estate company, I stayed in education. When I first came on board, I had to ask a lot of questions, and I tended to be a little defensive because I'd been...
You?
Never. I've been the queen of what I did in education. People came to Colleen for questions to get answered about a plethora of things, whether it was content and subject matter, whether it was technology integration, which I did a lot of, whether it was, skills to be a good teacher. I was a mentor in all those areas, and I was used to walking around with a level of confidence in my professional life. And then I came on board in real estate, and there was so much I didn't know about getting on the phone and communicating and some of the details and legalities of real estate, things that had to do with selling that I wasn't good at. And I'd get a little defensive at times until I learned that there was a power in leaning into something or someone who knew more than me.
But all those skills and leadership are transferable. You just need to put them in that
different
industry.
Now I'm the person that people come to for training in real estate, and I do a lot of coaching in it. Mm-hmm. I just had to acquire those skills, but it's really hard when we're trying to lean into people who have skills greater than ours not to be intimidated, at least with the kind of personality that I have. It can be hard for me. So I think it's super important. You have a quote from Michael Dell was about the smartest person in the room. Talk about that one.
Well, Michael Dell says, make sure that you're not the smartest person in the room. If you are, then you need to find a different room. And the principle there is you need to lean on people that are experts, that know more than you, and seek those that know more than you. Because if you look at any CEO of any company, they're going to hire experts in each part of that company that are going to have more knowledge than the actual CEO. And the CEO's job is to manage those experts so that the synergy that's created is greater than each individual. That's why it's called synergy, by the way.
Yeah. Well, and I'm gonna take that to another place. A lot of folks who read my book, Living by the Mantras, it's a great book because it's just really about having focus. Well, this particular is about focus, but it's about having mindsets around common sense principles. And it's as useful to a parent parenting their children as it is to a leader, a manager running a team, a CEO. It's the ideas behind how we implement those really good mindsets. And I've had a lot of parents read this book. So I've mentioned it and it's in the intro of this. Being a CEO and having a team underneath you is a lot like being a parent. You can bring that 100%. Down a few notches. And being a parent and you have a team of people that you work with every day. And I share it in the book, but I'm going to share it here. Like, we all know, I mean, if we are paying attention, every single individual in our family, and I think this is an important thing with parenting, is you can't raise all your kids exactly the same. You can have a set of values by which you raise them, but you have to look at who they are as individuals. And in our household, we had different people who you went to for different things, and everybody knew that. And so that's an important thing too, because it's much the same. Sometimes it's okay. It's very humbling to lean into your kids when they have more knowledge or are better at something. I did that on a phone call with my oldest today. Had questions, and I knew he knew a little bit more, and I talked through some of my ideas with him because there are places where he's just got more skills or is better at stuff than I am. So it's super important to not have the word hubris. Hubris is the big one.
Yeah.
And people are, if you're not, define hubris, Bri.
Well, that's basically self-pride, right? Being and thinking that you're all that in a bag of chips with guacamole on the side.
Yeah.
But we need to realize that you have it on the wall over there.
You missed salsa.
Some salsa.
Okay.
And if you like tequila and lime, right, as well.
Yeah.
We need to realize that we're flawsome. Colleen, what's flawsome?
I have a wall full of quotes and he's looking at them. Flawsome is an individual who embraces their flaws and knows they're awesome regardless. And there are days where I feel super flawsome. There are days I feel super flawed. And there are days I simply feel awesome. But it is really super important to understand that we have our flaws. Other people have their flaws. He has his. Please don't get me wrong. I wasn't saying that he didn't have his flaws, but he just has areas where he's so much stronger. And sometimes I admire in him what I don't have, but then he'll turn around and say, well, I admire in you what I can't do. So it's leaning on that buddy system, mentors and friends, finding a mentor, somebody in your professional life.
Mm-hmm. Seek them out.
I have a dear friend, Kelsey, who might be listening, who came to hang out with me over a glass of wine and some really good sourdough bread and dip she brought.
That's the best way to have a conversation, by the way.
But it was regarding parenting, and she's in her 30s, and she wanted to ask my opinion as she's raising her young children on how she should handle a few situations and what did I think and about where she was in life. And that mentorship role, I've been there. I've raised 3 kids. My youngest is now officially legally an adult. She's 21. So I've gotten 3 kids through childhood. And so I have something to offer her because she hasn't experienced it yet. So that finding a mentor, whether it's in your personal life, whether it's in your professional life, if you have a dream, a focus, a plan that you want, don't be distracted and think you can't do it. Find somebody that can mentor you through it. And maybe it's a person that's digital. I just signed up for a fabulous class. We were at a conference back in Michigan in real estate, and I signed up for a mentorship that's all digital with a guy who works on neurolinguistics and how we communicate and doing what I do now and where I want to head. I want to be better at communicating. And I sat through his class. It was pre-recorded, but wow, he's going to be a great mentor in how to communicate better. So whatever it is we want to accomplish, we need to grab hold of those things and find people who can support us.
I think it's really important that you realize that it's really good to be mentored as well as to become a mentor. And I'm reflecting as you were speaking about how the school district there in Clovis had buddies systems, right, where they had reading buddies and athletic buddies and those kinds of things, where the kids they were young. I mean, they were fourth, fifth, sixth graders, and they were mentoring kindergartner, first, second graders.
Because one thing a
graders.
fifth grader should be able to do better than a kindergartner is read.
Yeah, but
So
being put in
you
that
can be
role.
mentor them, yeah.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, when you teach something, you learn better, right? Because you have to have confidence in what you're talking about, because you'll be questioned about what you're teaching in a way that you have to be able to explain. And so I also was reflecting back on my real estate business. You know, I was mentored by nobody. And I had to go seek out mentors, people that I could sit down and have coffee with.
We did what we called paying some stupid taxes.
A whole bunch of it.
No mentor at the beginning. We spent money where it shouldn't have been spent, energy where it shouldn't have been spent. Yeah.
But having coffee with people that have, you know, a decade more of experience doing what you want to do, whatever that is you want to do, sit down, take them to lunch, have coffee with them, and just say, can I just have a conversation with you? And it doesn't have to be a long conversation. It could be 20 minutes, 30 minutes. You know, if you do it on a regular basis, you know, every month or so, or if you wanted to do it more often, that's fine too. But at the end of the day, they're getting out of it just as much as they're giving to you, because they're being able to share their wisdom with you, which is a win-win for everybody.
Well, and I think so. Part one of the buddy system is that you gain knowledge because you lean into people that have more experience than you. But there's a step two in that whole buddy system
What is
also.
that?
And that is that we create a village around us. And I think, you know, there's a whole idea that we can do some things by ourselves, but when we create a team, when we work in congruity with others that have different strengths, we can go even further. So I'm gonna, what are you good at? Okay, when you are able to look at all that needs to happen in a business, I'm going to use business for example, because it's very true of our real estate company. Brian was doing great. He earned more in commissions and sales than most realtors would earn, but he was limited when he was working a complete solo business. And so he was ready to expand, and I threw my card in there. I said, pick me. I would love to, because I understood that I was going to bring to the table some stuff that skill sets he didn't have by himself. And just being a support network, just taking over some of the busy work. And then I started going out on appointments with him and paying attention. And what happened, Brian? What happened?
Our business, 1 + 1 equaled like 5, because it had a compound effect. It was the synergy of us going the same direction and continuing to push each other to our personal best.
Well, because we each had different strengths to bring to the table. When he says everybody hugs me, I'd go out on a listing or a buyer's appointment or whatever kind of appointment with him, and people would be shaking Brian's hand and giving me a hug as we walked away. And he's like, I've been doing this for years. Nobody hugged me. It's just my personality. It's what I bring to the table. Then we brought about a team.
We did.
We brought on board a team of students who helped us do the busy work, because I became a part of the transactions and things with the clients. And so we needed people to also run around and in our business help put up the signs, put up the locked boxes, deliver stuff to clients, help them pack up and move, and things we couldn't do because we were doing other things. Then on top of that, we brought in more realtors on our team. And my point to this is, we decided that if we all played on our strengths, we were going to be doing a whole lot better than if we tried to take all the strengths on ourselves.
I want to jump in there, Colleen, and I was in the middle of looking up a quote.
I know, I was poking him on the leg down here. I'm like,
quote.
stop, get off your phone. Okay.
And I was trying to figure out who said it. The quote is, wisdom is
I
created
don't
by
actually have a phone to get off of, but I appreciate the
You know-
reminder about digital wellness.
You know what's
I'm just here in the cloud, ready to help whenever you need me.
This is
What can I
hilarious,
do
and
for
we're
you?
just going to leave it right on here. I have a dot in the corner, and apparently she thought I was talking to her. Go ahead, Brian. Go ahead and read your quote.
The quote is this. It is talking about the synergy.
What are you going to do? You got to laugh.
Wisdom is created by a group of advisors. Wisdom is created by a group of advisors. Now, where have I heard that quote before? So I was using my phone. It came from the Bible, apparently. So it says, plans fail for a lack of counsel, but many advisors, they succeed. And that's at Proverbs 15:22. So what we try to do when we make decisions is make wise decisions, right?
Absolutely.
So at the
Nobody
end,
wants to make a dumb one.
at the end of the day, if you have one advisor, you're only going to get one perspective. But if you have many advisors, you're gonna get wisdom from a group of advisors. So seek out more than one buddy is my point.
Well, and create a team.
That's the point. Yeah, create a team of advisors to help you in your situation. If you're growing a company, if you're starting your family, if you're wanting to climb your job ladder, whatever it might be, opening a business.
Well, I'm going to take that back to the family piece too, because you'll suddenly have these little munchkins in your world, and they're going to grow and they're going to develop these personalities, and you're going to discover, and this was the part I said earlier, where you can have the same values and standards as you raise your children, but you have to look at them as individuals. Each one of them is going to bring a different skill set or gift to the table. And you're going to look at that. One of them is going to be more organized, or it's going to be one of your little taskmasters. So be it cleaning the house, be it getting ready for dinner after a busy day, whatever it is.
Kindness,
So but my point is, you're going to give them all a different job.
Yep.
As you prepare dinner for the table. Obviously, at the age of 5 or 6, none of them is going to be at the stove cooking, but maybe one of them is making sure all the toys are picked up so that nobody trips over them on the way to the table. One of them is setting the table because they're just really good at it. And my Julie loved to do that because she liked to make the table look pretty. So she would be your perfect candidate for setting the table. And you just figure out whose task is what, whether it's around your household, whether it's around your conference table. And, even as a teacher, I would be able to know which students very quickly, because I would sit kids in groups, right? That whole sitting kids in groups so they could work together. I was very careful when I created the groups, because obviously I needed to have some form of a leader in every group. I needed to have some form of a scribe in every group, because someone has to, when you give them an assignment, someone's got to be doing the writing down. You had to have your creative one in the group so that they would keep everybody alive. So it's just taking a look so that you have all that you need.
There you go. What's number 3?
Well, we're still on number 2.
Okay.
And that is, so you play to your strengths. You have this team now that you're working together with, not just mentoring, but working together with. And then you make sure everybody understands what their biggest strength is. And I think that's a huge part of it, because sometimes people don't know. You might have somebody on your team that you're a manager, or you might not be the manager, but you work on a team. And sometimes people need to be told, you know what you're really good at, because they might not see it. So it's really important to make sure everybody is playing to their strengths. And then to stay focused, you prioritize. That's huge. Yeah. So the last one is accountability. And this is where the buddy system is huge. So we have it for mentoring. Okay. We have it for having the synergy we just talked about, having a team that gets more done. But then there's accountability. Why is accountability important?
Accountability happens when you achieve your goals, right? Or it's a mechanism to help you achieve your goals. And what we have found is what you track and measure you improve, right? So the accountability gives you that track and measure. How are you going to be accountable to whatever change you're trying to make? Whether it's an improvement in your life, an improvement in others. Writing things down have miraculous effects on your life.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And there's creating charts. There's there's got to be that, that text message that reminds us that we need to be at a meeting. There's accountability. Hey, don't forget this is your deadline. Even if you do it to yourself, oh my goodness, set up a reminder on your phone, but having a buddy who's going to say, hey, how's it going? Are you getting that done? Have you not forgotten? I'm going to use our sweet 21-year-old as an example. Like she's got to pay her car registration by the end of May. And so we, for the reason,
2 weeks away.
Yeah, it arrived at our house. Okay. But she lives in Arizona. And so we took a picture of it and sent it to her and said, hey, your car registration is due by, this date. And then it was, oh, I'll get to it. I've got finals, whatever. And so we had to keep reminding her until Dad got her on FaceTime yesterday and said, I'm going to sit here while you take care of your car registration, because the deadline is rapidly approaching. But it was that accountability. Is our daughter irresponsible? Absolutely not. Our daughter's fully responsible. She's amazing. Is our daughter busy? Has she just finished finals? Is she working her one job, and then she's about to start her summer internship? Is she juggling a lot right now? Is she exhausted from finals? all of these things.
See, I was her accountability partner.
You were her accountability partner. Part of a buddy system is making sure that we don't do that. And there's lots of ways to do that. You can do them physically. You can do them digitally.
Yeah.
If you're in a workspace, we have, posters on the wall that hold us, that push us forward and encourage us for sales contests or for whatever it is.
I mean, in today's world, it's really convenient because distance no longer matters, right?
Right.
And with cell phones, you can FaceTime, you can Zoom call. A free Zoom call is 40 minutes. So you can Zoom call a mentor or mentor somebody else.
You have a spreadsheet that you send digitally just to remind somebody.
Absolutely.
So,
So just plan for that. Be intentional.
Absolutely. So the buddy system, plan B is just a distraction. Staying focused, having a mentor, having friends that encourage you and give you wisdom, having a team so you can all play on your strengths, and then having everybody be accountable. Those are all really huge. So time is elusive. It's a distraction. To wrap our series up, we don't need to keep going on this, but we do want to challenge you with a few things. To stay focused, we have to be thoughtful and remember how valuable time is. So my challenge to you as we head out of this conversation is make a list of folks you can lean on. Because I think
Make a list of what?
of folks you can lean on, people you can lean on, whether it
That's
be
the group of advisors.
So this is I got 3 challenges for you. Takeaways, activities for you to do this week. Start by taking a look and seeing who your advisors are. Sometimes we have friends that we lean on, but they're not necessarily going to help us move forward. So evaluate, think about who you can ask. Think of somebody who will help you grow in whatever area it is. And then have that conversation. Or maybe you've got good friends that can help you grow, but you just never get that serious. So you need to say, hey, we always hang out and have a great time, but you're really good at this. Could you help me be better at that? Whatever it is, take a look at the folks that you can lean on. Make a list.
Don't limit it to your little circle. It might be people that you need to add to your circle that you don't have. For example, do you have an insurance agent? Do you have a real estate agent? Do you have a CPA? Do you have an estate planning attorney? Have you put together a trust or a will for your family? Those are things that you need to be intentional in creating those advisors, an investment advisor, a banker. All those things are really important.
So whether it's a trait you're trying to grow on or just as a life rule. So make a list of people you can lean on, and then under their name, list their strengths, list what they can provide you, list what they can do to help make you a better person, and then reach out to them. Okay, reach out to them. Here's the biggest part, and make an accountability plan, because you'll have a mentor, you'll sort of have a team helping you do things, but how are you going to stay accountable? What are you going to do to make sure that as you are moving toward a particular goal, you're actually going to get there?
I do want to say something about reaching out, because reaching out in today's rules means sending a direct message or a text message, and you made an attempt. So I want to say, if you're going to try to do that as a method of reaching out, end quote, I would challenge you to make a video and say what you're trying to accomplish by reaching out, and send that video. It's going to be much more profoundly received by a video rather than just a simple text message. And you know what? You could actually pick up that phone and call somebody.
I was going to say, and I'm going to tell you, you're talking to a person that used to be, I was not a good phone skills person. Stepping into, you could put me in front of a crowd of 500 people, wouldn't even faze me. But you ask me to get on the phone, try to talk to someone that's either a stranger or somebody I haven't talked to in a while, and I would clam up. Don't know why, just who I am. So one of the skill sets that I developed was, hey, I need to talk with you, or hey, how are you doing? I miss you. When's a good time for a call? Then I would feel better about calling them because I knew that they were anticipating my call.
Yes.
So those are just ways, in case you're like, I don't want to pick up a phone and call somebody. Okay, let them know, hey, I would love to have a chat with you. Texting is fine to a certain point, but there comes that point where it's just easier
And by the way,
to get your emotions and ideas across by a phone call.
a butt dial is not a call.
No, that doesn't count.
A butt dial is like, oops, I missed to dial it. A butt dial is when you dial somebody's phone number and you don't leave a message. That's a butt dial. So I tried to call. No, you didn't. You did a butt dial. So if you tried to call, actually leave a voicemail message so that they can call you back.
That's huge, because the truth is, it's really, really important that you actually communicate, and so much more can be expressed
Yep.
with our voice. So thank
What
you.
else you got?
Well, that is it. Those 3 challenges to go out and find who you can connect with this week
You
that
know
will
what I'm
support
curious
you.
about?
Decide on their strengths and make an accountability plan. What's that?
I'm curious about how you guys are tracking things. Maybe you have some ideas that you would like to share with others you think would benefit. Go ahead in the comments below if you are watching this on YouTube or one of the social media channels, or send a message to Colleen directly and say, hey,
You could do
you
that.
should share this on your next show, and we'd love to share your ideas.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because everything, whatever we share, it makes us stronger. It makes us better. I shared some ideas last week on how I track time. And if you've got one that works, if you have a way to hold
Send her a
yourself
message.
accountable,
Yeah.
do it. That'd be great. You can follow us at Living by the Mantras just by going to the livingbythemantras.com website and following us on social media. Share these episodes out. If you think they're beneficial, please let other people know about them. Download them, share them, do all those wonderful things. And we look forward to we're going to be starting a new series starting next week. Join us for that, but we hope that Plan B is just a distraction.
And by the way,
focus has
Colleen,
been-
you have your course coming out here soon, right? You're gonna make
I
an announcement on
have
that?
courses. I've been making little announcements, but I don't have a date for you yet. So that's all I got at this point, is that be watching for it. We will let you know here
Secret is
first.
she's 90% done with it.
Yeah, I'm not focused. I'm just nervous. I got to get it out there.
She's
but-
amazing.
Yeah. So definitely looking forward to talking with everybody next time. So
All right. We'll see you
See you
next
then.
time. Bye.